Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Let's do some quick analysis here. A little 4-hour sweep. Just get right into it. It's Monday, 6:24 in the a.m. Wall Street time. Do some quick analysis here. Try to figure out where we're heading for the week and what we're going to do for the rest of the day. Obviously today, some macro analysis. Structure probably hasn't changed much since last week. Had some big moves on Friday. We'll get to that in just a second. Bitcoin, let's just get right into it. Bitcoin, very, very low overall trading volume. Doesn't seem to be a whole lot of interest in large cap crypto right now, but it's makes sense. We've been down in equities. The U.S. equities market's been down, and we all know that it's pretty closely tied to crypto is tied to that trading activity. So it is what it is. It's not much here. Very, very little volume. Overall, daily trading volume's low. Just nothing to say really about it. Nothing has changed in a couple months. Still reduced volatility within the daily and weekly ranges, compressed ranges. Just not much to say. This is not the dip you're looking for. If you're trying to buy dips, this ain't it, brother. So there's a possibility that this one's going to go lower. It's not really super worried about it right now. I don't think anybody's really super interested in crypto as a whole right this second, because of where it is in its market cycle. This has really nothing to do with anything but the market cycle. It's just where it is. It's not interesting right now. Nobody's talking about it anymore. There's this reverse psychology problem in crypto. It's much more accentuated in crypto as compared to like even the stock market and currency and stuff. When people are only interested in it when it's high. When it was up here at 60,000, you got Matt Damon coming out on the Super Bowl commercial saying fortune favors the bold. You got Mr. Wonderful saying it's going to $1 million. Anthony Pompilano saying it's going to $1 million. Brian Saylor saying it's going to $1 million. And then look what happened. Who did you listen to? Nothing to say. There's no trading volume as far as the day trade is concerned. Just looking at the 4-hour. These are 4-hour candles, so anyway, not much to say here. We had a big push up. Looks like maybe Friday. Maybe it was last night. See how this candle closes. Not really much to say. What this is a range. This is just going to be a range like this. It's just going to do this mess. I wouldn't really expect much out of it. It's not a great entry long. That being said, it's probably going to go a little bit higher today. So there may be a day trade to the upside, but honestly, it's just not worth messing with it. My personal opinion. If you only trade Bitcoin, I would only want to be long. We'll put it that way. But at the same time, it depends on your time frame to hold. Are you long-term investing or are you day trading? Within a day trading context, I would probably only choose upside, just because it's already pulled back and it's likely to retest the top of that little range, but it's not a great trade. Skip it. Dollar index. This did run down on us last week. It's what we were looking for. Is that pullback down? Didn't go too far yet. Still kind of in a range, but it's really getting weird. It's expanding to the downside. I wouldn't probably want to be too heavily positioned either way on the dollar. Realistically, locally, you could loosely define this as a range, and we're very near the center of that range. It's just probably not a good idea to take a heavy position. As far as day trading is concerned, shorter term time frames, this looks like it's going to go up a little bit. That being said, it's already come up for 20 hours, so it's looking pretty choppy here. Hold on a second. Man, looking pretty choppy here. So, probably not the best idea to take a heavy position against the dollar. Actually looking for other stuff this morning here in the group anyway. And moving right into that, Aussie and Kiwi rejections. Aussie and Kiwi have both come down. They tend to run together. They're twinsies. So these have run down a little bit, reached their projected low of the day. It's probably going to pull back up a little bit. Still got a couple hours for this candle to close. And this one did break the low, by the way. So kind of wait for this to close. The next, assuming that this candle closed like this or something like some kind of hammer, the next candle's still probably going to dip just a little bit, but then take off. So, you know, I could see something like that happening. You know, that would make sense. So we're actually looking for a reversal in the Aussie today, but specifically Aussie dollar, no telling. Because the dollar is making some weird moves. There may be some better pairings with the Aussie and the Kiwi. But right now, my guess would be to the upside for the rest of the day. At this point of the day, this is our 5 a.m. candle, or 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. The candle after this will be our 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. candle. And then after that will be our 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. market close candle. So we have 2 more candles left on the 4-hour chart today. Which way are they likely to go? My guess is going to be to the upside. So we're already positioned in the group this morning, actually up a little bit, not much in the green, positioned basically short Euro Aussie, short Euro Kiwi, short pound Aussie, short pound Kiwi, the basket short, looking for a recovery on the Aussie and Kiwi, and that's what it looks like it's doing. So we'll come back to that. Looking good so far. Euro dollar, range contraction still. It's a lower high, higher low, selling off a little bit. It's just, you can see that it's messy. It's really wicky, and on lower time frames that's going to be probably messy. Again, today might not be the day for the dollar. We do a lot of dollar trading here, trading against the dollar in whatever direction it needs to be traded in. But today might not be the best, at least right now. These first few hours may not be the best time. Again, it's early Monday morning. So kind of tells you where we're at if you're watching this in the future. We'll watch it and see. The euro is fairly strong. Not the strongest currency, but it's fairly strong. The dollar is also fairly strong. So the dollar is the strongest right now. So we have a strong dollar, a strong pound, and a strong euro this morning. It's not a great combination, to be honest. It needs, those big three need to be traveling different directions. But right now, again, there's a lot of buyers on the bottom. What's likely going on here is some kind of a range that hasn't developed yet, and we're just squeezing down to the bottom of it. And I'm assuming we're going to get some upside. Be looking to take pullbacks, and again, assuming this candle closes like this, what's likely to happen on the next candle is some little dip. Maybe it doesn't break the low and shoots back up, something like that. That would be normal. Something like that would just be a normal move within the context of this range, really. You know, looking at it that way. You know, something like that would be normal. It doesn't necessarily have to die from here after coming down for 20 hours. And it's clearly getting some action on the low end of the candle, so you'll see how this range develops. The next hourly candle going into New York session might be buying the dips going into New York session. Moving on, Euro Yen. Similar, same but different. The yen had some crazy moves going on. I don't know what that is. Just the yen did have some weird moves there. That was an interesting, big, nasty candle right there. I may leave this alone. This could even be the other way. There may be a split between the dollar and the yen today, which is something maybe we'll look at. What this shows me, I can see the difference between euro dollar and euro yen, and it's clearly a difference in the dollar and the yen. So that may be something. The dollar and the yen may be splitting. They normally run together a lot, but they may be splitting off on their own journeys here this morning. So Euro yen, this looks to me like if I saw this on a lower time frame, I'd be like, it's a short. Immediately sell it. You have these progressively reduced candle bodies over time. That's kind of stuff is just failure. It's what I call this is buyer exhaustion. Actually, the bot developing trades this kind of thing. Notice it looks for the difference in the candle bodies as it moves up when there are multiple candles in one direction and they start having progressively reduced body sizes. It says, wait a minute, that's exhaustion and we're going to take it the other way. So the bot would be selling this right now at 3 candles in a row, basically with smaller bodies and progressively reduced size of the total candle. So this kind of thing looks like it's going into a little range and going to pull back a little bit. So that may be a thing. We'll watch the euro strength and see. Kind of what I'm saying is it could be yen strength that's coming in. So we'll watch that. The euro's kind of flat and pulling back a little bit, but it's the yen that's probably going to make the move. Euro CAD coming off a range high. My wonderful artwork here. Man, we got that right though. Structurally, the structural move here, it's crazy. It caught the low on that a couple weeks ago. Get rid of this for a second. So still coming off the top of a range. It's, you know, lower high. It's not great. It's not a good entry. My guess is that this is going to come down a little bit on EuroCAD. That would make sense. That would just be a normal move within its range to come back a little bit. I'm not going to start chasing this short right here because what's likely to happen assuming this candle closes like this, again, these are 4-hour candles, what's likely to happen on the next candle? It's going to pull right up a little bit, probably into center mass of that candle and reject and then go down. And then, you know, we'll be looking in there for a potential turnaround. So we may be slow to rangy here, assuming that this candle closes big, nasty, bearish railroad tracks here. What's more likely to happen is some type of pullback on the open of the next candle. Like the first hour of the next 4-hour candle is probably going to be to the upside, and then possibly start fading into it for the move down. That's a possibility. So we'll watch that. EuroCAD, let it pull back up a little bit. I could see it getting back lower inside of this range. I don't know what this is. Stuff from last week. So that's a thing. Skip it. Euro pound. Whack. Nothing to say. The euro is a little weaker than the pound, but that may change. I wouldn't want to sell this here. It's just not a good short entry. Again, you've already come down for what, 24 something hours. It's not a good entry to start selling the bottom after it's come down. You know, what if this was, you know, logically, what if this was just kind of like a range, you know, this consolidation here? You know, what if it just bounces right off the bottom and just runs up a little bit for 8 hours? You don't want to be short down here at the low of the day. Structurally, it's hard to say. It's a lower high and a higher low at the moment. This kind of thing looks like it's going to go lower, but after it pulls up, it looks like it's going to pull up a little bit and then do that as the week goes on. So we'll take a look at that maybe later. Euro Aussie, we got a really good entry here on Euro Aussie. Let's go. $50. Both accounts in the green. The bot's trading the other one. I actually haven't checked it. Got 3 accounts running here. Looking good though. Looking good. Trying to get to my 0.25% target. Looking good. Still got plenty of room on Euro Aussie. It's a short. There's nothing really to say. It's a range expansion short here. Euro Kiwi, same situation. Short off the top of the day there. Looking really good. Thinking the range tool for that. Trying to delete whatever the heck that is. Actually, look. This is our entry from that was just marking where we were going to enter before that happened. I'll get that off of there so we can see it. Um, range tool, bang, right off the high, nailed it. Back to the fours. So we're looking for this to pull back down. If we can get a good close here with a wick on the top, I could see that next few candles coming down. Hopefully this will be way down lower, possibly to break this low by the end of the day or tomorrow or something. Looking for this to reject and go low, and just lower highs, lower lows. There's no reason to bet against it. Whoops. What did I do? No reason to bet against that right this second. It's not a long entry, obviously. It's just way up after breaking a low. It broke the low and then charged all the way back up. And some other stuff going on lower time frames with the range tool, and that's what we were using for the entry. Anyway, got the cheat codes. Pound dollar. The short. I mean, just looking at price action wise, it's going to be. It's not a good entry short. But it's probably going to pull back a little bit. I hate to say that, but depends on. It kind of depends on how this candle closes. It's hard to make that determination with 2 hours left in the candle. If this whole candle popped back up, it could be a whole different situation. But it looks, as of right now, and I want to be long on this. I want to be long pound dollar, and there's a kind of a. There's some headline risk here with the stuff going on with the UK Prime Minister and all that, stepping down, and possibly, we were just talking about this in the group, it's possible that there's a money guy coming in, Sunak. I believe he was a finance minister or something like that. So there's a possibility that market sentiment could be better. There could be faith restored in the pound. This thing is crushed. It is on a huge discount right now. I want to be long pound. We were long pound all the way back down here. It's crazy. Just caught the epic, the once in a lifetime low, but there's no reason to hold it. It can get back in this and double and triple dip, quadruple dip this many times, getting back in. That being said, looks like kind of like the top of a range, so it wouldn't be surprising if something like that happened, but we'll try to see we'll see how it looks later. I want to try to get long from lower. Really, this thing is on such a discount on the macro. It's just hard to it's one of those things where everybody's like, oh, it's going to go down, it's going to go down, and then you look at it 2 weeks from now and it's it did this. And everybody just forgets about it because there's a political change that's happening here. The reason this went down so hard in the first place, especially this drop, this 1,000 pip day happened because Truss came out and said that she was going to lower taxes in a hard economy to begin with. So that just everybody lost faith in it. The Queen died, and they said they were going to lower taxes at the same time, cut taxes. So rank 1,000 pips in a day, and now that that's over, and now that she's out of here, there could be a different situation going on here. So fundamentally, there's something to watch. Game theory of it, there's something to watch here with the pound, especially pound dollar, because of how crazy high the dollar is, and the dollar, US dollar, starting to kind of get a little weak up here, possibly. So pound dollar is something you definitely want to have your eye on. Forget about pound yen right now. Watch pound dollar. So that's the thing. We'll watch that. We'll see how this candle closes. We'll see how it closes. Pound yen, same thing. It's hard to say anything but this. It's a range. It's clearly at the top of it. It's clearly rejected a bajillion times. Depending on how this candle closes, I think everybody knows the answer here. So. And then again, these are 4-hour candles. We're just trying to predict what the next few candles are going to do, but also what's going to happen this week. What's going to happen over the next 20, 30 candles, beginning of the week. So you can see where we are and what might happen. So that may be a thing too. Try to figure that out, and we've already identified a potential strength in the yen. Pound yen, maybe I take back what I just said. Just said forget about pound yen. Might actually watch pound yen for a short, because the yen may be lining up with this too. Pound yen is at the top of a range. It may not even necessarily be so much pound weakness as yen and dollar strength. So we'll see, at least short term. Pound CAD, starting to see a pattern here. All the pound pairs are up near logically what would be the top of a range, putting in red candles. So, same thing. Not a great entry. Pound Swiss, I don't mess with this one much, but logically, this one is a very, very well defined range. If you cordon off your buyers and sellers and you look at it that way, see what I'm saying? See why you don't want to be buying it. So there's that. Pound Aussie. We're already in this one. Looking for Aussie strength and Kiwi strength probably to recover a little bit. So this one has a good chance at making a very violent move to the downside. It just hasn't happened yet. There's a lot of room potentially for this to make a move down. So we're already short on this. We took a basket, pound Aussie, pound Kiwi, Euro Aussie, Euro Kiwi this morning, mostly based on Aussie and Kiwi reversals strength. And gold is going down, by the way, guys, in the group. We were just talking about that rejecting off the top of the range. We'll get to that in a minute. So the position's going into profit there on gold. Pound Kiwi, same situation, just selling the high of the day. Different structure on this one, but selling the high of the day. A lot of rejections right here. Womp. So probably just use a supply and demand tool. There's a lot of it going on right there. So I'm assuming that we're going to pull back a little bit. And again, we just had a big 24-hour run up right into supply. All right, if you want to do the supply and demand thing, which there is some merit to that as long as it's not going too far back. I'm not talking about on weekly and monthly candles here. We're in the sellers. It's possible that these orders are still filling, and it's also at the high of the day. So projected high, I'm pretty sure that was. So, just looking over the next couple candles, even if this distributes up here a little bit, it's probably going to pull back to some degree, right? If not, go all the way back. So the risk reward is what we're looking for here. Risk is to the downside, pound Kiwi, from here. And it's the from here that matters. It's all relative. It's all about relativity. Trading is all, especially day trading within ranges. It's all about relativity. What's the probable thing that's going to happen relative to where we currently are in price? Look at where we are in the universe and try to figure out what's likely to happen from here. And all caps from here. What's going to happen from here? CAD yen, messy. Nothing to say here. The doji factory, this kind of thing is generally not great. There is a lot of volatility in the yen over the last little bit. Yen's been making some weird moves. We'll see what happens with that. They're talking about intervening again with the Bank of Japan, so to keep the yen from dying. So we'll see what's going on with that as the week goes on. This is the doji factory here. Not a good risk either way. I wouldn't say that there's a good entry here just immediately looking at the 4-hour. Could look at it on lower time frames. I would let this get to a low or a high first and then try to figure it out from there. But got this big, huge, wide, blown out range here, and we're just doji factory right in the middle of it. Nothing to say. Dollar CAD, same thing. Its range, my guess is that this is going to pull down a little bit, pull back. Again, within the context of day trading, this is probably going to, depending on how this closes. But assuming that we close like this, I could see some pullback. That would make sense. Realistically, it's in the middle of a big range. It's making lower highs. We have a transition here. If you look at your highs, Now all of a sudden it's making lower highs. It's transitioned. If you want to do the little whoop-de-doo thing here, we've transitioned from higher highs to lower highs all of a sudden, which is really the mechanics of a macro range playing out. And this is the point. What you're looking at is the development of a range on the macro. And that being said, it wouldn't be weird for something like that to happen, right? Just retest the bottom of this range. That would be normal. So that's a thing, and the question is, where's the entry? So we'll watch the high of the day on dollar CAD, try to sell the high of the day until it doesn't make sense anymore. And that could be forecasting what's going on with the dollar too, with the US dollar. Oil was strong too. Oil was bouncing off the low, and that has a direct fundamental impact on the Canadian dollar. So if we're going to have a strong Canadian dollar, might not want to be going long dollar CAD. Next, NASDAQ. Man, I don't even want to say it. Boy, did we have that on Friday. Jesus. Frustrating. I don't even want to say it. Had it. Man. Had to have a contract on this from the bottom and took a stop. And when I should have left it open. Should have left the trade open and ended up doing 5% on Friday. So ridiculous. It was just how it worked out was stupid. But man, we caught the bottom. Caught the bottom on Friday. We talked about this on last week's analysis too. Last Monday's analysis, we talked about this, about going long NASDAQ. Man. Did 5% on Friday. It was just bang off the low, 5% move in a day. So now some of that is kind of stabilizing. Stuff tends to stall out and go into ranges. I could see something like this, some type of range starting to form. We'll watch it. It's not an entry right now. We're right in the middle of its current local range. There's nothing really to say about it right this second. It did, however, just break a high. So I could see it pulling down a little bit. I could see that something like that happening, but right now it's in a range, and it's not a good idea to really start taking positions either way yet, until we can get an idea on what it's going to do. Same thing, S&P. It's overall in the macro, want to be long. Going to be buying pullbacks on this week. We're trying to buy the low of the day in equities. I don't care what the fundamentals are and what rate hikes coming. There's a lot of money that wants to get back in the market, and technically where this is it's a lower high and just very likely to start stepping up in its cycle back up to make another lower low. I mean, I don't know if I said lower high or not, but it's likely to make another lower high at some point, right? Step back up, going to consolidation, step up, going to consolidation, and maybe pull back. That kind of thing happens. That's how it works. So we're actually looking to buy dips. We're looking to buy the low of the day. We already know where we're looking at lower time frames. So every time this thing dips down, I'm probably going to be buying into it. Dow, same thing. There's no reason to do analysis on 3 different indices that make the same moves. Same thing on the Dow. VIX was skip. Oil is bouncing off the low here short term, and it's pretty low reasonably. Got production cuts coming from OPEC. Got a little bit of infighting going on with the world oil powers. Biden's quid pro quo with the oil that they tried to put Trump away for. Interesting political scenario there. Want Saudi Arabia to wait to cut oil until after the midterms. So it's low on the macro. It's low, but again, whatever. I think buying dips on this, waiting for it to dip. It's not a good idea to mess with this right now. It's just in a consolidation. Not much to say on it right this second. Just had some bearish stuff going on, and it's just pulling back into it. Right now, short term, it's probably going to be rangy, probably lower than average volume for a couple hours because it's already pulled back into the dump. So there just may not be much there to say yet. Silver, moving on. Want to be long on the macro. Let it pull back a little bit. Right now, short term, it's not a good entry. Not a good entry long. I would actually rather be short if I had to choose. If I had to take a position and not look at it for 24 hours, I would say at some point we're probably going to be lower, but looking to buy the dips, if that makes sense. Markets can go both ways. Newsflash. Same thing on gold. I think gold is short here. I think it's going to be. I think what's happening here is it's completed its upcycle and dropped and drops consolidating below a previous consolidation that was the high of a cycle. It's probably going to reject that. This kind of thing will generally do something like this and then end up probably going down into here somewhere. You can see this right here was very important. So we'll be watching that to the low end at some point. Probably the low end of whatever this is going to be for targets, just loosely represented, but I think you guys know what I'm saying. I think you smell what I'm stepping in. Would be careful buying it personally. Would wait. We'll see. Let's wait and see what happens with the dollar too as part of it. But right now, this is near the top of a range, logically, and it's stepping down in price. So, and there's still some gap here left. Buyers lower. So my guess would be downside on this. I would rather be short gold for a day trade. So, I mean, I guess that's kind of pretty much the market. We're trying to go through it quickly. We get a new 7 a.m. The 1 hour opens coming here in just a few minutes. So we'll take a look at that stuff in the group in a few, but there's not really much to say here. I think we've gone through most of it. What are the cliff notes here? What's the general consensus in the market as of right now? A lot of macro ranges. Dollars pulling up higher, probably to go lower, if that makes sense. I think the dollar is going to be a long for the next few hours and then turn around. I actually got some good profit here. On the Aussie and Kiwi basket. So yeah, probably a reversal Aussie Kiwi as far as today's concerned, and then over the next few days, looks like the Aussie is going to bounce here and pull back up. So long Aussie, long Kiwi, in whatever form that is. Euro dollar, it's messy. I would wait for the next candle, and we're probably due for some green candles there. When the dollar gets to wherever it's going to go, it'll probably pull back. Not much to say. Euro yen looks like a short. I think we talked about all this stuff. Right now, I think the play right now on Monday morning is going to be a recovery in the Aussie and New Zealand dollar, and trading whatever form you want to trade that. Not looking too great here on the pound stuff. By the way, pound yen, pound dollar, probably down off the top of the range. Good range size too. So that's a thing. Yeah, I think we just went through most of it. There's not really a whole lot yet. Stocks, not stonks right now. Buying lower. I want to be long from lower if we get an opportunity to do that this week. I think we just bottomed out there temporarily. I think we've got a little transition there, and going to be looking to buy the low of the day in stonks. Buying the low of the day, and we'll watch the dollar basically. Crypto, leave it alone. Just forget about crypto right now and watch the stock market. And when the stock market starts to recover, large cap crypto will start to recover. It is definitely not alt season. I'll leave it there. Because again, once the US equities market recovers, Bitcoin will start to run with it. The large caps will. And when large caps start to run up, all the volume gets sucked out of altcoins. So they're going to take another leg down. It's just not time to buy altcoins yet. But when Bitcoin starts to pump, maybe start taking a nibble or something in some alts. But it's just not time to do that, in my opinion. Not really much to say about crypto. Nobody's interested in it right now because the stock market's not moving. Wall Street Bets controls Bitcoin. I'll just say it. So not much to say. Just watching lower time frames. I think it's just going to be a matter of like trying to pick off little trades today. 30 pips here, 40 pips there kind of thing. I don't really expect any major moves. Everything's pretty flat. Kind of betting on the Aussie and Kiwi pulling up right now. Anyway, we'll get into some lower time frame stuff. Hope everybody has a good day, and catch you later.